an attendance certificate, please email me. I will put my details in the chat. I will now hand over to Francesca De Rosa.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good day, everyone, and welcome to the IMIA webinar, Unlocking Insights, the Power of the Collective Data Sharing. My name is Francesca De Rosa, and I'm the Global Head of Construction and Engineering at AXA XL Reinsurance. And my role within IMIA as a member of the Executive Committee is to lead the IMIA Data and Statistics Subcommittee. And for many years, I've had now the honor of leading this very diverse and engaged group of actuaries and underwriters. And as you know, at IMIA, our mission is this year, with the support of Russell, to serve our members by producing reference points which help engineering insurance market to benchmark their activities. And within the data and statistics, we aim to provide our contributors and members with year-on-year enhanced IMIA indices. So you might be familiar with them. It's 4 indices, rate change, loss ratio, mega loss, and type of losses. And this is really the reason for this webinar. We need to make sure that we all share a view on the key role IMIA plays to help you steer and manage your portfolios, whether it is a domestic or a global engineering and construction portfolio. And the additional unique advantage of contributing to the survey is that you will have access to the aggregated data after the IMIA conference in September. And while at the conference, you will hear about the finding this working group has analyzed through the aggregated data. So today, if we go into the agenda, we will hear from, if we can go to the agenda, yes, then you will hear from different speakers and about their experience and the view on the importance of sharing the data. You will learn about the key role our third party has Russell's in keeping the confidentiality of your data, and you will also see how simple to fill in the survey is. So, as I mentioned, also this year, Russell has been selected by IMIA to support us as a third party in this survey. And you will get the opportunity to get to know them better and hear their story before they send out the survey in the next few days. One additional point, if you have not received the survey in the past, or you want to appoint one point of contact in your company for this task, please let Stephanie at IMIA know. She will put her email address in the chat later, and so you can contact her as well for this reason, not only for the certificate of attendance. So with that, I would like to start with introducing the 2 portfolio managers who will talk about the underwriting view on the importance of the data, both from different portfolio views, the global and the domestic. So first, I would like to introduce you to Darren Smart. Most of you know him. He is a global head of construction at Allianz Commercial. He has 30 years of underwriting experience in the global construction market and based in London. He is a former chairman of the London Engineering Group and a contributor to the IMIA working groups, various IMIA working groups, as well as working on the update of the Advanced Study Group book on construction insurance. And prior to joining Allianz, Darren has also underwritten construction for Trans3 and most recently for Liberty Mutual, where he was global head for 8 years before taking this role at Allianz. So Darren, I have a couple of questions for you. I don't see you, but I guess you are there. I don't see, I don't hear you, but I think the first question is, as you are a very
Sorry,
active...
Francesca, were you asking for me to be on microphone now? So I appreciate you maybe can't see the screen. Yeah.
So as an active member of IMIA, what is the main benefit you get from the data and statistics publication?
Sure. So the main benefit for me as a portfolio manager, it may sound a little obvious, but it's the ability to manage the portfolio sensibly. So what does that actually mean, managing a portfolio? As an underwriting manager, I want to understand rate change. I want to understand loss ratio development, particularly on our legacy years. Construction, it may not be long tail, but it's certainly long term. So loss ratio development on legacy years is absolutely essential. And then I get this additional benefit of being able to talk about the large losses that are happening in our market. Now, it may be a little delayed, but it serves as an encyclopedia of large loss events, as well as everything else. And it's something to which I return year after year in preparing the many responses that I have to give to the many stakeholders in my portfolio. So I'll just go through a number of these, if that's okay, just to outline the value that I see. So primarily, I will use this data set as my base for planning, budgeting, and preparing business cases. In terms of, it's a point of reference for an understanding of the global construction environment, the global market. Absolutely essential, because without that baseline, you're nowhere in terms of any business case or budget, or indeed the annual work that we go through to set our plans. Internally, I'm sure we all attend quarterly or half yearly or annual business reviews, and that's where you need to answer to your senior management, presenting to the board, to the executive management on the health of the market, the cycle itself, all of that. My number one go-to is the data and statistics data set. It's also a baseline for my reinsurance presentations. Now, many of the reinsurers will already be members, but that doesn't mean to say they don't want to hear it played back. What they're seeing from IMIA, seeing and hearing from IMIA, they want that played back with a flavour of your portfolio. Does it make sense? Are they accurate? Are the trends that they are seeing there and from other cedents consistent with what you're reporting? It's a great baseline there. The fourth item for me is managing the market cycle, because once you understand where the market was, I know we pinned originally, we pinned rate change at 2010 at 100%, but whether or not that was correct, that's your base. And from there, you can understand where we went, how low the market went down to 2018, how quickly it upturned, and where it is right now, where it's peaking. Understanding behaviors, you can then map how you felt, how your brokers reacted, how your reinsurance responded at those various times of the market. Fifth, penultimate point is this market income aspect. I have lost count of the number of times I've been asked to comment on the market income. What is our addressable market? And it's incredibly difficult. And I've asked colleagues, peers, competitors, brokers, and no one ever really feels confident in answering that. IMIA has put a stake in the ground with saying what they believe the global addressable market premium is. It may be wrong, it may be right, but it's a point at which it's a point of reference, and it's useful. I genuinely find it useful. And finally, it's more about bringing it down a level as opposed to speaking to your seniors, speaking to your reinsurers, etc. What about informing your team, inform your underwriting team to educate, facilitate understanding of the market, of the dynamics there, of large loss volatility, and of course, understanding what your target loss ratio should be. I believe there's a lot of underwriters in this market that don't necessarily know what their target loss ratio should be. The work that the data and statistics team has is the number one benchmark, I think, for where this market has been. I think it's really important.
Thanks, Darren. That's really, really valuable and very clear. And actually, one point, I mean, obviously I share everything what you say, but interesting enough, you mentioned about the premium, the market premium, and with Rich and Stephen in the last couple of days, we were exchanging exactly on this point, and we realized that there is something available on the market. It costs a lot of money. Here, it's really only about the only cost is the contribution. So I think that's those are all very valuable points. Thanks for sharing. There is another point which I would like to hear your view on, which is what is today, among all the various things you mentioned, what is your number one motivation to contribute toward the survey?
I'm going to get not exactly emotional, but I think you can't be a good citizen of IMIA if you are not offering your statistics. I feel that so strongly. It has been, and I think I've probably said it passionately enough. The value of that data to the market, certainly to me and my portfolio, the value is immeasurable. I think if you're going to be a good citizen, you should contribute. You play your part in I believe, despite what you said, Francesca, I do believe it's the only truly global market data that has a semblance of accuracy and is actually is compiled by the underwriters themselves. And I think if we share those experience within a protected, anonymized platform, I think it helps to make our market more resilient. So if anyone were to worry about the integrity of the information or whether we're sharing too much, I think the more resilient our market is, the less exposed it's going to be to the shocks, to the volatility that we've seen in a market over recent years.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And if I may add, I think I share your view on the being a good citizen. I think in general, not only of IMIA, I would say even wider of the construction and engineering market, because at the end, even more is a small market. We almost know each other, all of us. I think it's a wider community of engineering and construction in this insurance industry. But yeah, I fully agree. Thanks. Darren, do you have any questions for Emil? Any point you would like to clarify as a contributor,
Sure.
let's say?
Sure. Well, I guess speaking on behalf of the members generally, and if I were a new member or hadn't contributed before, I think my number one question is going to be about the integrity of the information. I touched on it earlier. How does IMIA, what measures can IMIA take to protect that data, to anonymize it and ensure that at any point it doesn't fall into the wrong hands?
Yeah. Yes, thanks. That's a very valid point, and I agree is a super important point to share with audience who might not have contributed in the past. I think there are 3 points here which are really crucial. First of all, IMIA has, even in its stated as a first point, the importance of being compliant to antitrust rules. And this is always mentioned in every single meeting we have, every conference. And this is why you will never see within the results of the IMIA survey any prediction. even if we asked that the prediction in the survey. But what is more important is, and this is the reason why the friends from Russell's group are with us today, is IMIA uses the service of the third-party providers to make sure that our individual data are then aggregated by a third party, and IMIA within this working group only receives the aggregated data. And even more with Rusters, as in the past was with Perils, if your company needs an NDA to be signed with Brussels, that will be available with Brussels too. So in this sense, what EMEA accesses is only what is the aggregated market data. And that's what we used to work on.
Thank you for that.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks for your view and for your question. Now, with Darren, we have heard obviously the view of a global player like Islands, but obviously not all of you write global portfolios. And so the big question is about whether these indices are available for local players, and if yes, how? So we will now hear, actually, we will watch a video because unfortunately he cannot be with us today. Paolo Dalmaggioni, who is civil engineer from the Politecnico of Milan, and he is a seasoned professional with extensive experience in construction and insurance, and was a former head of construction at Sace BT, which is an Italian insurance company writing a very domestic local book of business, or mainly domestic. He has led a team of 15 underwriters and has been managing both the technical economic underwriting and the portfolio of engineering, liability, fire, and marine. Currently, he serves as a Cineas lecturer, which is the Department of Insurance at the Politecnico of Milan, and he specializes in construction risk and claims, and contributes as well as to the Accredias Certification and Inspection Committee. So if you can share his video with us, it would be interesting to hear the domestic view. Thank you.
Over the past few years, our working group has been hard at work analyzing data on global and local construction market trends. These data, while not 100% complete, are a valuable resource, even if they currently suffer from limited participation by industry players. The data we collect is essential, especially for those operating at the local subscription level, to enable us to have a global view of the market. The global construction market remains a unique reference point. The more data we have, the better we can understand the phenomena that characterize it. And these phenomena are not only global, but are also reflected locally. For example, we are seeing a significant increase in megaworks, but also in mega claims. This trend, which manifests itself on both a global and local scale, requires all companies in the industry to be prepared and equipped to deal with such a significant change of scenario. In conclusion, actively participating in data collection and sharing is not just an opportunity, but a necessity. The more information we share, the more we can anticipate and manage future challenges, ensuring a stronger and more resilient construction market. I therefore invite you to join us in this collective effort. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks. And so I hope it's now a bit clear that this exercise, it really benefits all of us, whether our portfolios are global or local. So I would like to now give the floor to the actuarial part of our industry. So um, Daniel will guide us on what is the survey and how this can be filled in. He will show us a simple exercise, and afterwards we will also hear from Winnie about the different strategies she has implemented to make this exercise even easier. Daniel Michel is actuary in corporate underwriting for Munich Re since 2023 when he joined the working group. And prior to that, he has filled actuarial role within the risk management department at Allianz in Germany for 7 years. It seems to be an Allianz day today. You don't want to say it, but so now, Daniel, thanks. The floor is yours.
Thanks. So I hope you can all see my screen. And thanks for the nice introduction. Yeah, I want to present to you this year's survey, and the purpose is to give you an overview and a quick introduction to the survey and how to fill it. The 2025 survey consists of 4 different studies. This includes the loss ratio benchmark, the rate change index, the global type of loss survey, and the mega loss survey. All of those 4 different parts are combined within one Excel workbook. Now I will go to the different tabs, beginning with the introduction tab here. This introduction tab gives you some overview and background information on the survey, as well as some overview on the tabs included in the survey. Additionally, we outlined the data requirements for filling the survey. This includes the gross premium triangle as well as the gross incurred loss triangle for the underwriting years 2011 to 2024. Your incurred claims data also for the underwriting years 2011 to 2024, and mega loss data for losses occurring 2020 and later. There's also a data privacy statement at the bottom. It is important to note that all data will be anonymized and sent to a third party, and your name won't be revealed when you participate in the survey. Going to the data input tabs, which are in total 6 of them. All those tabs are highlighted in orange, and all cells you're supposed to enter some input are also highlighted in orange. Yes, on the first tab, so the company overview tab, there are some high-level questions. So beginning with the size of your book in terms of gross written premium in US dollar, on the territorial scope of the market, so whether you're a global player or focus on some regional or local markets, the split into direct and treaty business in percentage of your gross written premium, the split in operational, project, and IDI business, a simple flagging whether your book has IAR or OAR business included, a simple question on whether your book is more lead or more followed based on the number of policies, your company location. So for those with a global scope, hubs across the world, we have the opportunity for you to select global in here. For all others, please select the country of your headquarters. And lastly, we have the question whether you're part of the London Engineering Group. Next, we move to the global market tab. This consists of 2 questions on your view on the global engineering market. Please, in the first section, please enter your view on the size of the global engineering market with respect to the gross written premiums in US dollars, as well as the split, again, in operational, project, and IDI business. On the loss ratio survey, all one has to enter, or all what's needed is to enter the premium and incurred loss triangle here. Please also state the type of premium used for the survey. We prefer to have cross-booked premiums, but cross-written premiums are also fine. And please also comment on the currency and the base for the incurred loss triangle used. Take in mind that we have 3 different parts of the survey. So we have an aggregation of project and operational, but we have also the split into project and to operational separately here to the right in this tab. I will quickly show it to you on some sample data how to fill the survey. So let's quickly go to the sample data. You simply copy and paste your triangle data. And paste it to the corresponding cells. Sorry, it's lagging a little bit for me. And then you do the same for the incurred claims triangle. And as soon as you have done this, you get the calculated loss ratio, so the complete triangle in the bottom. And that's all. So you have to repeat it for projects and operational again. And that's all you have to do for filling this part of the survey. Next, we move on to the rate change survey. And all you need here is some input based on your expert judgment on the rates per mil charged for various sublines. As a hint, just if you participated in the years before, please do not change the value for the prior years unless, of course, your view on the market has changed. Let me also just quickly enter some example data for one subline. Just quickly copy and paste it, and then enter it into the corresponding orange marked cells. Here it's again important to note that 2010 is used as a reference point for the indexation, but this does not mean that 2010 is considered as hard or soft market anyway. Moving on to the next part of the survey, the global type of loss survey. This consists of 2 sections. In the first section, you ask for the total aggregate incurred claim amount for your engineering book used for the study, so for the underwriting years 2011 to 2024. And on the second part, you are asked for the split into the type of losses. And to fill this part of the survey, some prior work or some work prior has to be done. Let me quickly illustrate this in an example. Let's assume you receive some hypothetical claim list from any claim report with several claims included from different cedents, from different underwriting years ranging from 2011 to 2024. Obviously, in your report, it won't be the type of lot categorization will be different to the categorization here in the survey. So you have to map them in before. And then we have the incurred amount. What you have to do now is to aggregate the incurred amount figures per type of loss. Calculate the total loss, and then you can calculate the percentage figures per peril. And these figures you can then paste to the survey itself. It's just quickly simple copy and pasting. And if you do it this way, you also ensure that it sums up to 100%. Now moving on to the last part of the survey. Here we are asking for mega losses, so for losses exceeding $30 million from ground up, occurring in 2020 and up to 2025. You're supposed to enter each single loss in a separate line. In the first few columns, you ask for some qualitative information on the loss itself. So the region where the loss occurred, the currency year, the underwriting year, whether it's CAR or EAR business, whether net cat has been included, whether it's a net cat loss, sorry, and then some categorization on the type of risk and type of loss. Lastly, you of course ask for the incurred loss. If available, please provide the split into property damage, DSU ALOP, and third-party liability damage. But if it's not available, it's also fine to report just the total incurred loss. And with this is all to fill in the survey. On the next tabs, we have some summaries, including some graphs, which might help you to review your data before sending it to Russell's. We have a tab for the company market data, one tab for the loss ratios, one for the rate changes, and one for the type of loss. The last thing you have to do when filling the service is you have to anonymize your data and send it to Paris. A description is here written on the tab Anonymize to Send, but I will quickly walk through how to do it. Just click here on the tab Data Sent to Russell's, then click on Move or Copy, create a copy to a new workbook. Then if that's done, just mark everything and copy paste it with special paste and copy paste the values. Then you can save the workbook to your drive and send it to Russell's. And that's all from my side and how to fill the survey.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Again, very helpful, very clear. One point which it's important to mention, obviously, ideally, we fill in the 4 different surveys, but in case your company doesn't have some of the data which we require, the 4 surveys are completely independent, so you can still fill in not all of them. Now, we have heard the view of the underwriting on the importance of the data. Daniel has introduced the actuarial view, and I would like now to hear from Winnie, who is Winnie's here is the pricing lead for natural resources and construction at Allianz Commercial. She is a civil engineer as a background with 15 years of actuarial experience across consultancy and the London market. So welcome, Winnie. And I have a bit of a more challenging question for you, because until now we've heard about all the positive of the survey, but there might be some challenges. So what do you think is the biggest challenge in filling the survey, and how do you overcome that?
Thank you, Francesca. So so the biggest challenge to filling in the survey is basically, it's very, very, very likely your data will not be in the exact format with the exact same fields and wordings, so that you can easily lift and shift over to the survey template. So I think that I would say is the biggest challenge, and maybe a secondary point to that is, which Francesca already alluded to, is the fact that you may not have all the data fields required from the survey. And in terms of how you would overcome it, there's probably a few things I would consider. So first of all, I would say have a bit of patience and maybe a bit of acceptance, especially if it's going to be your first time filling in the template. Just accept that it's going to take you a little bit of time to get your head around everything. As I said, especially if it's your first time round. Secondly, really what is really important is that you need to understand the data that you have, but also understand the inputs from the survey template. So what fields do you have in your data? What do you need? A really good example is what Daniel sort of explained on the type of loss, the fact that your type of loss in your data is very unlikely to match what we want in the survey. So you will have to set up some sort of mapping between both. So it's really, you just need to understand your data versus what needs to be input. Thirdly, I would say think about how you can automate and almost future-proof the process. So assume that the survey template, the structure of it will broadly remain unchanged year on year. So set up a process within your data that is transparent, well documented, and easy to update every year. So just as an example, you could, for example, have some sort of macro or VBA code that will put the data to the format you need and paste into the template. You could have, some sort of SQL code depending on what your data structure and databases are. You could also have a live link. So I know in Daniel's example, he did a copy and paste from his data to the template. You could even set it up as a live link to your data so that every year, you could easily refresh that. So it's just really thinking about how can you make your life easier down the line? So do the work now and then make it easier for you down the line. And lastly, I would say, ask for help. If there's something you don't understand, reach out to one of us, reach out to Russell's. You've got Daniel's video that explains, recording that explains very well how to fill in the template. And of course, you can always ask your actuary. Hopefully, if you have an actuary, ask them for your support as well. So really, to just quickly summarize, it's have some patience and acceptance, understand your data, understand the template, try and think about automating it and future-proofing it to make your life easier down the line. And lastly, ask for help.
Thanks, Winnie. I think that is absolutely crucial and really important. And I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I've seen what we do as an exercise. Yes, year one, we had to overcome those challenges. But as you said correctly, we try as a working group, as a subcommittee, we try to keep the structure of the survey as much as possible as it is. We have added some surveys over time, but the main structure of the older indices has stay the same exactly for this reason, because when you build this kind of automated process, can be reused year on year. And then it becomes really a very, very quick exercise. Now, just quickly, Stephanie has kindly put up a slide where we try to summarize what is the importance of those indices. How do we use it? This is a traditional slide our former IMIA chairperson was showing at each and every opening of the conference, just as a highlight and a reminder for all of us on how can we use each of the statistics from IMIA. And I hope we will share then that piece with you as well. And with that, I would really like to introduce you to Russell, who is as mentioned, been appointed by IMIA as a third-party support for the data collection. You will hear from them this week. You will get the email for the data call. And today with us, we have Julian and Richard from Russell. Julian is the head of business development at Russell. Has spent over 40 years in the industry as a broker, then head of marine IT for a major broker, and then as a CEO and owner of a software company providing solution to corporate risk managers, and joined Russell 7 years ago. And afterwards, we will hear, I think, from Richard Borg, who is the head of sales at Russell's and has been in the industry and with Russell, sorry, for 12 years. And within his career, Richard has performed similar roles across various industry and mainly with a focus on the account management and sales of data solution. And with that, I hand it over to our friends from Brussels. Thank you, Julian and Richard.
Thank you, Francesca. Thank you very much indeed. And good afternoon, or says a good day to everybody. I'm not sure where everyone's dialing in from. First of all, we're absolutely delighted and honoured to be part of the initiative. So I want to thank everybody involved. And I think it's just been said, if there are any issues, do feel free to reach out to us at any one time. My two colleagues on the call, I'll actually do a quick presentation, but Richard Borg has been mentioned by Francesca, but also very importantly, Rachel Taylor, who's our project manager and will be running the IMIA initiative from Russell's perspective. So Rachel, if you just wave and everyone can see you there as well. So there she is. So let me just share a couple of slides with you. So come back and share. So is that sharing?
It is.
It is,
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So we're a small company. For those who don't know us, we're just over 30 people. We're a business intelligence company. I think the key things from this particular slide is we're data driven. So we're good at taking data, turning it into actionable insights. So things that can be used for strategic decision making. If I move down to our client base, the company was formed just over 30 years ago. Our founder, chief exec and owner of the company is Suki Bassi, and he was brought in by Lloyd's. His baptism of fire was to do the loss modelling that enabled Equitas to be set up. So if you can imagine the volumes of data involved in that, and on the basis of his findings, Equitas was set up and obviously Lloyd's was saved. So it was a baptism of fire indeed into the industry. And what he realised is here's an industry that needed help with its exposure management and understand aggregation. So the company was set up. We initially started off in the aerospace sector, helping aerospace reinsurers gather information from their cedents, harmonise that data, add data to that from third-party databases so they could understand their exposure at any 1 second in time. And the company really took off after 9/11 when those companies using our solutions were able to press a button to find out what their exposure was, when other people it was taking them weeks, if not months. And as you can see from our client base, most of the leading aerospace reinsurers, both in Lloyd's and across the world, utilise our systems, and we've now moved into other areas as well. So the areas we concentrate on, it's taking data from companies, harmonising that data, and adding value to that by adding data from third-party databases. So we work with 12 different data vendors, people like Moody's, S&P, a lot of the aircraft movement databases, vessel movement databases as well, so that we can turn that data into analysis that can be used for effective exposure management, optimizing portfolios for pricing, and also for doing scenario analysis. So the areas that we are involved in are aerospace mainly, which was our key one. The next is marine, and that's where we're providing a database for cargo underwriters, and that's really creating a trade database which can be used for supply chain, so it has relevance across all industries. We have geohazard, which is focused initially mainly on energy, casualty cyber, and then also enterprise. And enterprise is aimed at the corporate risk managers. So we, for the last 6 years, have maintained a corporate working group of just over 30 corporate risk managers, and it includes people like Landsec, BAE Systems, and some other construction and engineering companies. But we're helping them unlock some of the balance sheet risk and providing new areas of risk transfer for you, the insurers and reinsurers, to get involved in. So that's that's something that we hope is going to help benefit the industry as a whole. So that's what we do is taking that data and translating that data into other areas. Our key, if you like, what we see as our USPs for this market is our 30 years experience and that client base who trust us and have worked with us, some of whom have been involved right from the very start. It's making sense of data, so it's turning it into insights and things that can be used for that decision making, and then looking at that data and trying to create opportunities out of that as well. In terms of this particular project, just to for what we're involved in. So the very first thing is the submission of the survey data. And I say that all that information will be going out to you within the next few days. It's then generation of the indices in Excel, creating then some Power BI web dashboards so that those insights can be realized from that data and making those available and circulation of those results. So there are 4 areas of involvement. But as I say, as we go through, if anybody's got any issues with submitting data or anything else, then please feel free to contact us at any one time. So if I stop sharing. So back to you, Francesca, if that's okay.
That's perfect. Thanks, Julian. And sorry, Rachel, I didn't realize that you would have joined. But I'm glad that you're aboard, and I'm glad that that our audience can also put a face to the name who will be leading this project for Russell's and for IMIA. Thank you very much. So as Julian mentioned, in the next few days, Russell's will send out the survey to your point of contact. I've seen Stephanie has already put her contact in the chat for you to reach out in case of you are not on the distribution list or you want to select one point of contact for your company on the data call. And as we all mentioned, if you have any questions, please reach out to any of us, whether it is at Russell, whether it is any one of us in the working group whom you know or you feel more comfortable to ask questions. And it is, as we said, it is crucial for any of us in this industry, whether it is portfolio manager or actuaries, to have an understanding of the wider benchmarks of our line of business. So don't miss the opportunity to contribute, get the aggregated data, and yeah, I mean, we really rely on your contribution to be able, as a subcommittee, to deliver our service to the engineering and construction community. So I don't know if there are questions. We've gone through the entire program because it was a bit complex to interrupt along the way. But if there is any question, put them in the chat now. Or I don't think you can unmute yourself, but you can definitely put a question in the chat. Otherwise, as I said, reach out to any of us, reach out to Russell's, and we will do our best to.
It's
answer.
I don't believe others can unmute, so it is ask questions in the chat, please. We've one's come straight in.
Yes.
Hang on.
Thanks, Darren. Can
Sorry.
one company submit several surveys from subsidiaries? That is a very interesting question indeed. Yes, I would say yes, in the sense that as long as we can identify, and we can with the geographical location, it is absolutely possible.
I would say,
sorry?
If we could just make sure that the data doesn't overlap, or the data isn't replicated, but yeah, why not? If there are regional portfolios or specifics, or if it's genuine subsidiaries, yeah, That
Yes,
makes complete sense.
And to be honest, I think it really goes very much into the direction of our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal as IMIA and as data and statistic committee is to be able one day, hopefully soon, to provide also country statistics, which at the moment we can't provide because we don't have enough contributors by country to anonymize the data. But that would definitely be our final goal and even a wider value for the market, definitely. I see one hand up.
Yes, that's me. Just to let everyone know, I think we should be able to give people the mics. If they put their hands up, if they want to speak, they can put their hands up and I'll try and allow the mics, okay?
Thanks, Stephanie. Very much appreciated. Thank you.
In the interim, whilst we wait for questions or people to unmute, I wondered if anyone wanted to comment or have a think on when we were talking about the market premium, the total market premium. In 2023, the Data and Statistics report had the market premium at $25 billion US. A year later, it was at $30 billion US. That's quite interesting. I don't know what people feel about that, whether they feel that that's in terms of global, whether that's an accurate representation. But when we're all tasked with understanding our own share of the market, what do you think about what your portfolio looks like against either 25 or 30 billion US dollars of gross premium? That really makes you think, I believe, and it helps you understand the scale of the global market. It might make you curious about where is all that premium, about in which regions. So you might be able to cross-reference other work that IMIA does and data that it collects in the country statistics to try to understand where those opportunities might be. Max has asked a question.
Yes. And I think that is more a question where I would say, Winnie or Daniel, it would be nice. I would like to address that to you. Max says, in the section data collection, you mentioned on premiums preferably being booked premium, but gross written premium also acceptable. Does the data collection template outline what the meaning of the two terms is? That's a valid question.
What is written, what is booked?
Yes, I just have to look it up, to be honest. But there is some more information, of course, dated within the survey itself. Yeah, so if you mean, for example, so there's some more clarifications and specifications within. So what we mean with without any deductions, but just you're referring basically on the differentiation only from booked versus written premium, right?
Correct.
Yeah, gross written, yeah. I think it's a good
But I
input.
think
If it's not there, we should.
Yeah,
there is
absolutely.
a description for the book premium, I think.
There is.
I think I was trying to take a look at the template as well. I think we probably can give a bit more of a better definition, I think, in the template. So I would say this is one for us to take away and update.
That's Max. I don't see any more hands up nor questions in the chat. So
I'm guessing, if I could just add, I'm guessing that anyone attending here is either a contributor or intending to be a contributor. We would love to be able to capture reasons why people might not contribute. Now, Winnie, I think you did a really good job of outlining some of the challenges about being able to clean your data and make it transferable. So that's obviously one. But are there others that we don't understand? Are there reservations that some of our members might have that we maybe are missing? I think hopefully we've dealt with the integrity aspect. No issues there. I think Russell has explained very clearly their approach and their background and their heritage. Where might problems be? Otherwise, I guess we're going to get a fabulous response for the 2025 survey.
Indeed, I love this challenging question now. I hope Stephanie has written down the names, but we will never know anyway who contributes if